I know, it's crazy. 2 video essays in a row, something you don't really see on the channel, but I just felt like making this today. It's been about 192 days since we first got the farm flock, so I figured I'd just document the entire story of my farm flock, because it's quite interesting, and I think it might be something you might enjoy, so be sure to click the link and subscribe before we begin. Anyways, let's go. All stories like this must begin with a little bit of a prologue, and that is exactly what this day was. Introducing the farm flock. Not all the chickens that we have right now are actually from this first day, believe it or not. We started off with just a couple of Easter eggers, I believe around 10 or 11 of them, and a couple black copper marons, and I believe a couple black sex-linked and cinnamon queens, but those were it. Obviously we would add to that number as we proceed. Now we'll list all the dates that those were added to, but this was ground zero. These were the original chickens. I don't remember exactly which ones, but all I know is that the 2 puff ones, the ones, I call them puff, one of them is actually in the thumbnail, I believe the white one, that is actually one of the original 12 or 13 of the new farm flock chickens. If you're wondering, they were actually supposed to be introduced to the farm flock, but as we'll find out later, that just simply wasn't the case. As I just mentioned, there's bound to be multiple days that we'll discuss in this video. For starters, this is the day where we got a couple more chickens. This is going to be one more day. We got a couple more Easter eggers and a couple more cinnamon queens from the local Tractor Supply. This will enhance the number just a little bit to, I believe, around 20-ish. Now, believe it or not, we will add 9 more chickens before the end of this video. So keep on watching. I really hope that it does not impact viewer duration. I don't know though. Those are the chickens that we introduced to the flock. They're pretty cool chickens. I don't know. Yeah. This was the last and final time that we would end up getting more chickens for the farm flock. On this day, we got the additional 9 more chickens, officially adding the total up to 29 chickens. This will officially mean that we have the original 29 chickens batch. Obviously, there's a lot that aren't still alive. Actually, I think it's 28, not 29, I'm sorry. But either way though, all those chickens most of them are still alive, although we're down a couple due to recent predator attacks, which I'll go over later in the video. We had 28 original chickens. Now obviously, we would probably have around 32 if it wasn't for the fact that some of these chickens would end up dying, mainly due to either shipping disorder or just baby chicken issues, being too cold, being away from the heat lamp, which is one thing you need to be cautious about when you're raising baby chickens, is keeping them into the heat lamp area. Sometimes if you have a big enough brooder, maybe even setting up 2 heat lamps might be necessary for this sort of dilemma, but that's just me personally. I don't know about you though. Yeah. Now, I know I skipped a lot, but literally nothing significant happened between any of those days, so this is the day that if you don't remember, we had meat chickens a while ago, and on this day, because meat chickens have a very short lifespan, we had to butcher them. And that's simple, and it's something I could possibly make a video on, obviously just detailing it if you want, obviously not showing anything, but either way though, that's besides the point, as on that day, because all those meat chickens had taken up an old hoop coop, we decided to move the farm flock, as they had now garnered their full feathers, especially since we're about a month and a half into their lifespan. So that would basically mean they've garnered most, if not all, their feathers, and it was like 80 degrees out just about every day, so they were perfectly fine to get out there and explore. We would move it constantly so that way they could help get around, and unfortunately though, one small mistake can unfortunately bring down just an entire month of hard work. As I said in a community post, a minute procrastination can ruin a month of hard work. Yeah. Alright, so this is the day they had their first attack, and as I said, 1 minute of procrastination can lead to a month of disastrous effects. Obviously, it wasn't that big of a deal. It was one of our black sex-linked that I didn't really name. But yeah, one of those nights back around this time, it was exactly on this day, we unfortunately forgot to remove the tires from the transportable hoop coop. So that unfortunately meant that something could crawl under there, grab a chicken, and take it out. And it was a fox that night that decided to do it, and unfortunately the fox showed little to no mercy. And it just tore that thing out of there, like completely just ripped it out of there. And there was a lot of parts just, yeah, I'm not going to try to describe it, but All I'll say is that it looked straight out of a horror movie, man. It was just something else. I don't know how to explain it. It was crazy. Well, here we are again, talking about chickens unfortunately having their lives cut short for absolutely no reason whatsoever but for a wild animal to have breakfast. Well, that happened this morning with the pet flock, then with Grey Cloud, then with the farm flock. Unfortunately, at this point, I think there's like a 1 out of 93 million chance that Grey Cloud is still alive at this very waking moment, and if Grey Cloud is somehow still alive, she probably traveled halfway across the world. And yeah. If you may or may not know, that morning there's a lot of chickens that passed away in the pet flock, farm flock, and yeah, we combined them a couple days later, obviously due to the limited number of chickens in the farm flock. So the pet flock went from 7, their lowest, to 12, which they still stand at today, and maybe even going up to 13, because I'm considering moving Puff into the pet flock. So that's it. There's a whole like 8 to 12 minute video covering the whole scenario. It's not the coolest thing ever, so yeah. Well, I'm running out of time before this video is due to upload, so I'm just going to explain what happened here in about a minute. Obviously, the chicken laid their first egg on this day. It was one of my, I believe, one of my cinnamon queens, and since then there's been a lot of weird things that's been unfolding, so I'm just going to explain everything that happened past that day, because everything was explained in one video on that day. Basically, the chicken's eggs started going missing recently. I'm probably finally going to conclude that series in a couple days with one final update and a solution to the dilemma. And yeah, be sure to click the like and subscribe to follow up with that sort of stuff and all that whatnot. There's been some chickens that have passed away because they're being complete and utter idiots, because I'd say just about 2/3 of my farm flock have complete moron brains, so what do you expect? Those chickens just aren't really that smart. And we lost a couple. We're down to 21 now, so that's not a lot, but hey, I mean, it's something, I guess. It's enough to lay eggs. Be sure to click the video on the screen right now. Trust me, it's my video essay from last night. It's also about chickens. It's something I definitely hope you would enjoy, and it's something I probably recommend for you. Anyways, I'm out.